Federal government pledges commitment towards expanding Great Green Wall in Africa. Banks begin deduction of loans from chronic debtors account. Nigeria needs $3 billion investment in refineries, says the NNPC. Plus Asia-Pacific stocks mixed in Tuesday trade. Details of these and more coming your way on Business Express on the network service of the NTA. And we're reaching you live from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I'm Leah Katun Babatunde. Good morning once more and welcome to the program. We'll begin by informing you that President Muhammadu Buhari has pledged Nigeria's absolute commitment towards expanding the achievements of the Great Green Wall program in Africa. Speaking at the high-level side event of the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Glasgow, Scotland, the President expressed optimism that Africa's ambition of restoring over 100 million hectares of degraded landscape for productive agriculture is achievable.
This is to fast-track the implementation process with the prime purpose of translating the pledged financial resources of 19.68 billion United States dollars into hectares of land restoration and other livelihood improvements at various country levels. The effort to make available the financial resources already pledged by financial partners is still ongoing. Nigeria has taken further steps by approaching other technical partners for support.
I remember that in January, on the One Planet Summit, we launched an initiative of $19 billion committed. We are here, and I can confirm this 19 billion. They are committed and they are arriving.
And back home, President Muhammadu Buhari has urged youth of the country to continue to seek the path of self-actualization with a promise that the administration will continue to support their efforts by creating an environment that enables the fulfillment of their dreams. The president said this in a message to the maiden National Youth Conference held in Abuja.
More golden time than the present that you're in. So seize it. Progress is not made by looking back, but by looking ahead. Your generation has been gifted with so many tools and opportunities. You are at the most developed time in the history of technology in the world. Everything that you have today was much, much better than previous years. So with this, you can shape not just your destiny, but the destiny of your nation. It's up to you to use them well. Refuse to succumb to hopelessness.
The youth are not just our future, they are our present. They must be involved in our politics, nation building, peace and security efforts.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has listed its selection criteria for the newly introduced financial instrument tagged the 100 for 100 PPP policy on productivity and production. The Apex Bank, in a statement by its Development Finance Department, explained that a selection for participating businesses will be based on the immediate impact the business has on economic growth, jobs creation, and social impact, while noting that the projects for consideration shall be new projects in existing companies requiring new machinery and other support, and most have the greatest potential to achieve significant scale in their in-country production and for domestic consumption and exports. The statement adds that the project must catalyze sustainable employment-led economic growth through increased domestic production and productivity in the near term. More agencies of government are appearing before committees for appraisal of financial performance and projections for 2021 and 2022.
Overhead costs 99,299,631 naira.
The Public Service Institute of Nigeria, the ASCOM, definitely government will not continue to run you. You have to look inward to see how you can generate revenue. You have all it takes to get money.
If we give them the amount that they cannot be able to pay before they retire from the service, it will be a problem. So we normally used to look at their years of service and their grade level.
Findings from the Central Bank of Nigeria reveals that deposit money banks are recovering debts owed by chronic debtors from their accounts in other banks to curb the growth of non-performing loans in the industry. Figures obtained from the Central Bank of Nigeria and the National Bureau of Statistics show that the non-performing loans in the banks recorded a slight decline from 1.2 trillion naira at the end of second quarter of 2020 to 1.1 trillion naira. This is despite an increase in the gross loans in the industry in the period. The CBN said the measures it introduced, such as the global standing instruction to reduce banking sector risk, is helping to reduce the non-performing loans in the sector. According to the CBN, the global standing instruction, which commenced on August 1, 2020, allows banks to recover the outstanding principal and interest upon default from any account maintained by the debtor across all financial institutions in Nigeria. The latest figures from the CBN shows that while the gross loans rose to 22.2 trillion naira, the non-performing loans fell slightly to 1.1 trillion naira. And data obtained from the National Pensions Commission show that assets under the contributory pension scheme rose by 120 billion naira in August. PENCOM revealed this in its latest unaudited report of pensions funds industry portfolio. According to the report, the assets rose from 12.78 trillion naira at the end of July to 12.9 trillion naira in August. PENCOM also revealed that a total retirement savings account rose slightly from 9.405 million in July to 9.427 million at the end of August. The operators invested 8.29 trillion naira of the funds in federal government securities, while the rest was invested in other portfolios such as domestic and foreign ordinary shares, corporate debt securities, local money markets, and mutual funds. The role of technical, vocational education and training (TVET) in facilitating employment opportunities should not be neglected in Nigeria, as TVET has the potentials to enhance job creation, wealth generation, poverty reduction, and technological transformation, which could help to minimize insecurity in the nation, which unemployment and poverty usually breeds. And as Nigeria is currently facing many challenges ranging from economic, socio-cultural, developmental, and insecurity, among others, TVET could serve as one of the ways to address these problems.
That the key and the way forward is to skill up our population. I think that is where we are. It's a convergence of opinions that we need to skill up our population. We, as a government, we have realized that. We have to create macro, small, and medium-scale entrepreneurs. That is the way forward. So they too can also, like those small businesses that can employ three more people, 4 more people, and they can continue to churn them out. They can continue to become independent on their own. Those they are training, and those ones who are becoming independent can continue to train others.
And yes, indeed, it is important that the productive capabilities of youths should be enhanced through TVET, as there is nothing that can surpass the effectiveness of hands-on training. And to do justice to this issue and other issues around is an award-winning, experienced educational, construction, design, and innovation professional, entrepreneur, and the executive director, chairman, and chief executive officer of Tungsten Entrepreneurship Holdings, Bello Tongo, just So much in one. You're welcome to Business Express.
Yes, thank you very much, Leah. Very nice being here.
Okay, fantastic.
Yes.
So let's start by you telling us the place of MSMEs in the labor market, and of course, coming from a young person's perspective.
Yes. MSMEs, you know, as the people usually say in the world of economy, that is the backbone of all economies, you know. And it's the same situation in Nigeria. And in fact, if you see the recent report by PwC, you'll see that the MSME is actually occupying like 99% of, almost, I think, over 99% of all businesses in the country. However, unfortunately, most of it is only in the micro and small grade of the MSMEs. A few of them are at the medium scale, and then they have the large corporations also. So it's something that I think based on your report also, government is trying to push and open the private sector market so that there are more MSMEs, and then by more MSMEs, we are going to have more recruitment and job opportunities for youths in the private sector. Because obviously, as you know, government cannot employ everybody. So the MSMEs are very important for the growth and sustainability of our economy.
So while we're looking at this growth and sustainability, there seems to be a disconnect from the demand side and, of course, the supply side. And then we now look at it that, in fact, the background, the education, the connection seems to be missing. And we're looking at future jobs. How would you cap this?
Yes, I think, as you said, the education is actually the bedrock of it, right from primary, secondary to even the tertiary. The disconnect that you're talking about that we've seen, even in the work I do with Tungsten, is that everything that is being demanded for by the labor market and by development and big businesses and companies is not what the education system is providing them with. And as you know, obviously, businesses, they are always looking for influence in their markets. They are looking for more valuable products and services, and they are looking for more profitability in their industries. So all of that is what they are demanding for on the demand side of things. But on the education side of things, which is the system that's supposed to supply these graduates to these industries, the systems, whether you're going through mathematics, English, science, and social studies, all of that you are learning is not inculcating the entrepreneurial thinking that these industries are looking for. So what needs to happen, I think, and which is what we have also tried to be doing with Tungsten and other research that we're doing, is that as much as possible, the education system, through the curriculum, through the teaching, through all the assessments, need to inculcate all of these entrepreneurial aptitudes, if I can call it that, in the system, regardless of whether you're studying maths, English, or whatever it is. Even at the tertiary level, graduates should be more of entrepreneurial graduates at the tertiary level. So you have entrepreneurial engineers, entrepreneurial doctors, entrepreneurial lawyers, and all of that, rather than just separately doing your own business and not being in line with your career that you have chosen for what you end up being in the industry.
So how early do you think it should start?
Well, I think it needs to start mainly at the main focus should be at the secondary school level. Because think about it, it's at the secondary school level that these students, or all of us actually, got to transition from childhood to adulthood. So our character was really basically formed at that level. And think about it also, that is the period where we normally decide whether we want to be doctors or engineers or art students and all of that, around that before you join SS1. And also think about it also, this is the period where most of us decide, even the universities that we want to join. So potentially or mainly the focus should be at the secondary school level. However, even before that, the primary school level should prepare you for what all of these things that you will face at the secondary school level. And then at the tertiary, you specialize more on what you have chosen. But as I said, it must have entrepreneurial competencies in each of it.
Now, let me just drift away. It just occurred to me that last term, I was at my son's school and they had this career day. And I observed a lot of the children wanted to be lawyers, they wanted to be doctors, they wanted to be pilots, they wanted to be engineers. They all came in their costumes. And just one child in the whole primary section wanted to be a journalist, and just 6 wanted to be teachers,
Right.
and the other MSMEs practically had nobody there.
Yes.
Is it something about how we develop the character of our kids and how we got developed that is being trickled down?
And by the other MSMEs, do you mean the vocational type of jobs?
Yes, the vocational type of jobs, and there was nobody there.
Yes. Yeah, well, I think, as I said, you know, it is, as you said, down to how the attitude that we bring when we're teaching all of these trainings, even at the TVET that you just mentioned earlier. Most people, when they think of TVET, for instance, they think of it as when you basically when you do it, you're going to end up in the polytechnics and then go and become a craftsman and polymer and all of that. But they are still very much valuable in the economy. So most people try to think of the white-collar jobs like, you must be, even me when I was growing up, my parents say, you must be a doctor, you must be this, you must be an engineer and all of that. But that is the mindset. So the mindset is not even on the child. It starts from the parents and even the society. But if we see that these people that are going to technical and vocational education trainings, the TVETs, and also other things, the business side of the careers that they choose, then society won't really think of them as second class to whoever is studying the bigger type of jobs, like the bankers and the doctors and all of that. So the attitude side is very important, but think about it though. I mean, in nature, normally it's only when you value something. If you see the value in something, that's only when you will really project it or you embrace it. So I think the way that it's been, that these type of courses, technical courses, vocational, are being presented in the system or in society are not really, if I can say, they're not really brought about in terms of how valuable they are for the industry. Think about it. Someone, a company like Dangote, for instance, or any of these big companies, they still need technical people.
Skills,
in it. Yeah, their skills. It's not just all about the engineers that are there. But if the system can really find a way of projecting these skills or vocations as equal, you know, as valuable compared to the other higher educational, like engineers and all of that, then the attitude will change, I think. And it's important, as I said, that they are being carried along and being put or matched with what generally we're being looking for, you know, what we're looking for.
Okay, so
Yes.
do you see our budgeting system playing any role in this? And of course, how would this sector drive the recovery process?
Yes, I see it definitely adding or contributing to it. As you know, this year's budget, I think we got about, for the education system, that's what I'm saying, about 100 billion, I think, if I recall well. And that's an improvement from last year. But the thing is, all of that, the budgeting or all of those funds need to, I think, be put in the right places, education-wise. So it shouldn't be that the main universities, the typical universities that go about the medicine and law and engineering type of faculties are the ones that will get the most chunk of it. It needs to also be balanced with what's going on at the technical and vocational side of things. And also, I think if that is really done well, because if you think about it, I'm trying to remember how much billions actually went for social investment funds, like interventions and all of that, and how much also went to industry, trade, and investment, and then also how much went to security, as you know. If these three, the social investment funds, the trade and investment side of the budget, and also the security side of the budget, if really the education part does its job really well in terms of bringing up capacity of students, then we won't really have to budget too much for these other three sectors. It means more will be going, even more than the 100 billion that we got this year, I mean for the 2022 budget. So it's almost as if you will use the education system to reduce whatever is being allocated to these ones. Yes, if we really do what's right for the education system. That's why I said that 100 billion needs to be allocated, I think, in the right way. If it's done, then 2023 budget, you will see that maybe we won't need this much on the security side of things, on the social investment intervention funds, and also on the industry trade side of things, you know.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think that's how the budget can really ensure that what we're talking about cannot be achieved. You know?
Okay,
So,
I must sincerely thank you, Bello Tungu, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much, man.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, so we move now straight to Surviving COVID-19 series, where Bossade Abel had a one-on-one chat with a skin care entrepreneur.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
My name is Mrs. Tinola Yusuf. I'm into organic oils. These are natural oils. We use them in making creams, soap, oils, body oils, and so many other things that has to do with skin and hair. I've been doing this for the past 5 years. I couldn't go out because of the lockdown. I was at home. There was nothing could be done. So, but you have to come out of your shell. Leave one door closed, you have to look for another way out. So most businesses decided to focus online. Then I started calling my contacts. That we can do this, even though we can't go out, we can do this. I could give this advice to you online. We could supply some things to you online. So basically, we're online.
Can you tell us, have you heard of the CBN intervention?
Yes, CBN is really doing well. Some have gotten, some are in the process. Yet my own is yet to be approved, but I believe it will be approved.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Now, with the federal government bearing heavier cost of running the National Youth Service Corps scheme, such as feeding, medical services for corps members and corps officials during the orientation course, provision of other logistics for orientation and post-orientation operations. Director General NYSC Brigadier General Shuaib Ibrahim says the idea of the trust fund was conceived to strengthen the operations of the scheme.
The idea of the trust fund came up while we were deepening the search for ways of addressing the challenges of funding the scheme, especially that has to do with provision of future orientation camps, accommodation for corps members, office accommodation for the NY State Secretariat, as well as zonal and local government offices, land for agriculture, release of state subventions, security of corps members, and support for the scheme's community development service.
We are presently advocating for our NYSC Trust Fund. We're hoping that the federal government can look into this in order to support us, encourage our entrepreneurs, give them interest-free loans.
Yeah, the trust fund will go a long way in addressing most of the challenges like insecurity, unemployment, and the youth inclusiveness we're talking about. And there's going to be vacancy for job, and which a lot of youth will be carried mostly along to.
Non-stocks in Nigeria are resuming this morning in the red after recorded losses on Monday, and away from home Asia-Pacific stocks are mixed this Tuesday.
Investors around the world are gearing up for a busy week of corporate earnings, a key U.S. Federal Reserve meeting, and October's U.S. jobs report. Shares in Asia were mostly negative in Tuesday trade. Hong Kong Hang Seng Index went down 0.20%. Mainland Chinese stocks were also lower as the Shanghai Composite slipped 0.43%. Japanese stocks also slipped following their surge on Monday, with the Nikkei 225 declining by 1.14%. European stocks are expected to open lower on Tuesday after a strong start to trading for November. However, UK's FTSE index is seen opening higher at 7,288. Germany's DAX lower by 36 points, and CAC 40 of France also down 12 points. U.S. stock futures were slightly lower in overnight trading after the S&P 500 eked out a fresh record close Monday to kick off November. Futures on the Dow Jones Industrial Average shed 51 points. S&P 500 futures were near the flat line and Nasdaq 100 futures were mildly lower. In Africa, all major stock indices in the region hit new highs and closed at records during Monday's regular session and are expected to sustain momentum as the numbers begin to come in later this morning. Boss said the Able Business Express.
And that's a wrap on this edition. Business Express returns tomorrow at 3 p.m. Have a good day.